rulers? Am I live? How are you guys? Annie Ruler, Sherry, Fred, Alice. So nice to see you. Again, I must apologize for having to move the time back. And then I got a call from an old friend that I just had to take. I kept it short. I told her I had to get on my live that I had scheduled. I did not want to keep my new friends waiting. So I am here today to talk about a really effed up case. It's brand new. For real, Annie Ruler says. I don't know what you mean, girl. For real. Yeah, I got a call from a very old friend, if that's what you mean, for real. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of a conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and be educational and learn something. Poise the noise. Hello, hello. And all my videos to date have been made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. So I am very, very sad to come on here to talk about yet another fatal domestic violence incident. Only one content creator have I seen that's covered it so far. I would imagine that a lot more will. And that is True Crime Rocket Science. So I will put a link to his video in the description. I'm very emotional about this because, the violence against women is off the chain. Off the chain. Let me just go ahead and read this to you so we can get started. And please hit that like button. Make sure you're still subscribed, share, turn on your notification bell to ring. I almost said to read. Hey, Bex, and just thank you so much, all of you lovely people out there. So I'm gonna highlight the Bex with the heart and get rolling on reading this New York Post article. It's awful. Okay, you ready? Horrifying details have emerged surrounding the final moments, and forgive me if I cry. I might. Freaking domestic violence is so gross. It's a hate crime. It's a hate crime, and it's not prosecuted as such, and I think it needs to be. So horrifying details have emerged surrounding the final moments of an Olympic cyclist who was allegedly struck and killed by her athlete husband outside their family home in Adelaide. I don't know how to say that name of that city, Australia. You guys probably know how to say it. Adelaide. Adelaide. They just bought this house 6 days prior to this incident. This incident happened on Saturday, the 30th, and she passed away on Sunday, the 31st, I believe. They have 2 small children. Cyclist world champ and Olympian Rowan Dennis was arrested and charged over the death of his wife after emergency services were called to the scene in the luxurious suburb of Mendini and Adelaide's inner north around 8 p.m. on Saturday. Sorry if I get the names of these areas wrong. I'm just going to keep going. Melissa Hoskins, 32, was found with serious injuries and rushed to the Royal Adelaide Hospital. She later died from her injuries in hospital. Police will claim Hoskins jumped onto the hood of their $47,000 four-wheel drive Volkswagen Amarok UTE and grabbed at the door handle while Dennis allegedly drove until she fell to the ground. You know what I just pictured, you guys? Gabby Petito and her van that douchebag was driving away when they were in Moab. Unbelievable. I was going to say it's lucky for her that this didn't happen then, but look what happened a couple of weeks later. So disgusting. The Adelaide Advisor reports the mother of 2 may have been dragged some distance along the street, with the alleged incident believed to have been caught on neighboring security cameras. So at least there's that. Detectives and major crash officers arrested Dennis and charged the 2-time cycling Um, Time trial world champion with causing death by dangerous driving, driving without due care, and endangering life. He has been bailed to appear in the Adelaide Magistrates Court on March 13th. A police statement surrounding the Mendeline incident called for anyone with more information to contact Crime Stoppers. Friends say Dennis and Miss Hoskins, who share two young children, have been married since 2018, were planning their post-retirement life in South Australia. Dennis had only ended his 16-year career last year, and the pair had considered launching their own Adelaide Hills vineyard, according to the Advertiser. The couple both competed at multiple Olympics, with Dennis winning a silver medal in 2012 for the team pursuit and a bronze in 2020 for road cycling. Melissa Hoskins, who competed under her maiden name but went by Melissa Dennis on Facebook, had only just missed out on a medal in the team pursuit at the London Olympics. Meanwhile, the final photo shared of the family on Dennis's Instagram page has been flooded with messages from fans sharing their disbelief and devastation at the news. The photo shared by Dennis on Boxing Day showed him smiling with Hoskins and their two children in front of a Christmas tree that still had unwrapped gifts underneath it. Dennis in December also shared photos of him smiling with Hoskins and another one of their two children meeting Santa. The 33-year-old also shared photos from the family's holiday to Egypt in November. And a host of sporting organizations and fellow cyclists have paid tribute following Miss Hoskins' tragic demise. It says death, but I put demise in there. Among them is the Australian Olympic Committee, AOC, who Ms. Hoskins represented at the 2012 and 2016 Games. The AOC has expressed the utmost sadness at the loss of Olympic cyclist Melissa Hoskins after the tragic events in Adelaide. It said in a post on X, our condolences go to Melissa's family, friends, and the cycling community at this extremely difficult time. Ma'am Freshner, Chief Executive of Aus Cycling and the national governing body for the sport in Australia, labeled Miss Hoskins' death as a tragic incident. Melissa, a mother, a daughter, and wife, was also a champion cyclist who thrilled and inspired us with her exquisite skills on the track and road, Miss Fessner said in a statement. Melissa began her competitive cycling career at just 16, and by the time she retired at the age of 25, she had shown the world she was an athlete of rare prowess. Melissa described her team pursuit gold medal at the 2015 UCI Track Cycling World Championships as the highest of her career. But for the rest of us, the highest was just having her around. Retired track cyclist Anna Mears, who has also been appointed chef de mission of the Australian Olympic team for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, posted a condolence message on her social media channels. I have a very heavy heart, Miss Mears said in a post to X. My thoughts are with their children, family, and fellow friends. This is a very difficult and tragic time. RIP. Miss Hoskins' former team, Green Edge, which has since rebranded to Jayco ALULA, similarly expressed its grief at the news. Our thoughts are with her family and friends and the whole cycling community at this deeply saddening time. A statement from the team said, she will never be forgotten. So that's the end of that article. And like I said, it's just disgusting, isn't it? Um, So Sherry says, I'm back. Hello, everyone. Poise says, have to run, getting ready to drive, still listening. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you. And thanks for letting us know your status. I think that's cool. So we feel like you're in the room. We know that you're there. You're just driving. And mom first, always. Hello, hello. And yeah, so that's horrible. I couldn't believe when I saw this on my news feed, and then I looked for videos on it, and like I said, the only one I was able to find so far was the one by, True Crime Rocket Science. I think he lives in Australia, so, he's pretty quick with those types of things anyway, whether it's in America or down under. Um Yeah, it's just disgusting. It's also kind of reminiscent of the situation with Tiger Woods. That was Thanksgiving when his wife tried to help him get out of his vehicle, right, by breaking the window. Unbelievable. These high profile athletes with their fame and fortune and domestic violence. I mean, it's just crazy. You think these people have it all, and they ain't got nothing in a sense, right? I mean, if you don't have your health, if you don't have your sanity, if you don't have your life, you got nothing. So it's very sombering. I'm still curious what you meant by for real, Annie Ruler. If you're still here. Um, so yeah, be real, that whole thing with the first time I ever heard about it was in the Kylie Rodney case, and it's been very disturbing the last couple of days with all of the news information surrounding MC Ultra and her Kylie song. If you guys know about that, if you don't know about that, prepare yourself because it's ridiculous. It's just it's an all new low for someone that you didn't think could possibly go any lower. She's just really bottoming out and digging herself in deeper and trying to be as callous and hurtful as she can. So um, again, is that a case of violence against a young girl? I don't want to say a young woman because she was only 16. She was almost a young woman. Um, but the violence against females is just out of control. And it's insane when it's other females. I mean, it's bad enough when it's guys. In my mind, it's even worse when it's not guys. The case with Pam Hupp that I've been talking about again these last couple of days, she is just now in the last year or two being prosecuted with the unaliving of her friend, Betsy Faria, I think is how you say her name. So Betsy Faria was stabbed to death on December 28th, 2011. And as you might know, her husband Russ was wrongfully imprisoned for 2 years um, because of the corruption in that town that they lived in and the relationships with the prosecuting attorney and the judge. And, everybody knew everybody. And Pam Hupp was extremely manipulative, and it was kind of an easy slam dunk to pin it on her husband because, yeah, most situations like that are domestic violence. Even the situation with Savannah Soto, that was looking very much like domestic violence until they found the deceased and found more details. But even a post that her mother put up on social media when they were still looking for her implied that she thought that Matthew had done something to her dear Savannah and her unborn grandson, Fabian. Um, so we're getting more information about that case too. And I saw a duty Ron thumbnail that said an arrest is imminent, and I agree 100%. I'm sure that an arrest is imminent. However, the violence that to hurt anyone is so grotesque, in my opinion. And then to hurt a pregnant woman or to hurt a small child is just, again, it's just like lower than low. Um, but what I really wanted to say, I'm losing track of my thought now. What was it? Going back to Kylie Rodney and the situation with the domestic violence, the violence against women, and Pam Hupp doing in her best friend for some money, cash. She was short on cash, so she had her best friend change her life insurance policy to make her the beneficiary, and then 3 days later, um, set it up to make it look like her husband unalived her. And, the callousness of doing that to your best friend, like doing that to Russ, but, doing that to your best friend, a very, very violent attack, and doing that to your best friend's children, not to mention your best friend's mother and father and all the rest of the family. These people are just sheer sociopaths, and it's so frightening. It's so frightening. So I think it's imperative to examine all potential suspects in a situation like Kylie Rodney's, and especially that's going to be the last people to have seen her or spoken with her or texted with her. So those suspects that are sometimes referred to as her friends, and I call them her frenemies because I think they're nothing but suspects. And even if let's just say that she passed in a car accident that then they covered up because they didn't want to get into whatever trouble. I have a feeling that the whole thing was like completely substance rug infused, if you know what I mean. So a whole lot of crazy. Let's just say that it was an accident, even though I don't personally believe that it was. We're a year and a half out and still no one has come forward and confessed to what they know. Like, was she so on it when she wrote that song, Far Away? You don't give an F about me? It's disgusting. It's disgusting to me that those of us here on YouTube in the true crime community care more about her than her friends and family, it seems, in my opinion. Um, so let's see. MC Ultra, is that a play on MK Ultra? Yes, it is. And I did not make that up. I don't know if Shan made it up. That's who I got it from. Oh no, I missed some live. Shame, shame, shame. Hi, everyone. Well, shame on me too, Mark Molina, because I haven't caught up with your live from yesterday. I was excited to see that you did that. Um, Sad case sounds like hope she gets justice. Well, just the fact that this guy gets to live free until at least until the date of, was it March 13th that they said he'll go in front of a magistrate? That's, justice delayed is justice denied. If they have him on videotape, on people's, Ring doorbell cameras and such, and I think there were eyewitnesses too that may have heard them, yelling and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. So, one sec, let me drink some of my chai tea real quick. How's your new year going, Justice Warriors, Justice League? How is it going so far? I'm really happy that vacation time is over. I'm really happy to be back at work and to have my structure and my organization. I don't know. I'm weird like that. Sometimes it makes me feel a little bit guilty or bad, but I guess I should just focus on the positive that I'm happy that I like my work that much too, right? And I like my solitude. So, I have a excellent job where I get to work solo, autonomous, and as long as I get my work done, it doesn't matter what time I start, what time I finish, or what breaks I take in the middle of the day to make my YouTube videos. So I feel extremely fortunate to be able to do this. And the fact that I've been able to do this for almost a year and a half now is just phenomenal. Um, like I have to pinch myself, right? So let's see. The the theme that I'm usually working under is the theme of corruption, right? And I looked up corruption, and I'm always curious when you look something up to find out the synonyms, like thesauruses. I have one actually pretty handy. It's on the other side of the room. But I literally carry a thesaurus around in my pocket, in my purse, in my um, satchel, wherever I am. Of course, our cell phones are thesauruses too, but um, the dishonest or fraudulent conduct. Sorry about the barking dog. Dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in power. Okay, especially in bribery. So there's usually going to be money involved when there's corruption, because what else would the motivation be, right? Um, So exposing corruption in high places is sort of, I'd say, a bit of a mission of mine with my channel. That was kind of a mission of mine before I started my channel, and writing letters to the newspaper, public speaking, these types of things are ways that citizens can expose that type of thing. YouTube is very cool because it reaches more people. So I find it very satisfying to feel like I'm putting my efforts towards fighting that crap, because that crap is so dangerous. It's so dangerous. Goal to break the code of silence and all the lies and to get back to a job. I like, again, how it says cone of silence, Mark Molina. You had that same typo a few days ago. That's hilarious. But yeah, the code of silence, you guys. Again, my theme the end of last week and over the weekend was how that code of silence serves the corruption so well. And it needs to stop. People need to speak out. By going along with that code of silence, you're not making the world a safer place. You're not making yourself any safer. You're not making anyone any safer, in my humble opinion. But it's important to think of your own safety as well as the safety of others, and to make smart decisions and choices about how you're going to go about speaking your truth, if you're going to speak your truth. But I find it imperative. Live free or die. That's a motto for the state of New Hampshire that I thought was my own personal motto, that I thought I invented it when I was a kid. It wasn't until I was an adult that I found out that New Hampshire stole my motto that I made up. And did they kick me any credit? I don't think so. No, it's what I call it, cone of silence. I think it's from a show. Oh, good to know. I was going to look and see, like, how come the D and the N, they're not next to each other? But then I thought maybe spell check got you. So the cone of silence, very, very interesting. Because, yeah, when you say cone, I think of that cone in Maui where they're dumping all of the toxic waste, Pele's womb, right? Um, so yeah, I've got some notes here I want to look at real quick. Um, and the police corruption in the Pamela Hupp case, or let's call it the Betsy Faria case, caused a 10-year delay on Pam getting any charges on her. So it wasn't until I think 2021 that she got charged with anything from that homicide. Um, and if not for that freaking corruption, jailing Betsy's husband, Russ, had they had an eye on the right suspect, they literally could have saved other lives. It was after that that she unalived her own mother and unalived a complete stranger in her crazy wackiness, trying to distract the police from the other crimes that she committed. She tried to make it look like this guy like jumped her or kidnapped her or something, and that she shot him in self-defense. Very sad. So she's serving a life sentence for that one. Um, and I think that the murder of her friend Betsy Faria might uh, be a death penalty. So that would be fitting, in my opinion. Um, let's see. Yeah, there are 3 people in a family right now in Lincoln County where this happened, where the Betsy Faria case happened. Um, I think it's Minnesota, I think. Um, Lincoln County Sheriff's officials, and their last name is Markle, Markle, Mike, Becky, and Kevin. And Kevin is actually was employed by the DEA, and the 3 of them are being charged with destruction of evidence, stalking, harassing, and perjury. They are all county sheriff officials. Pretty unbelievable, huh? So, um, I don't want no friends like that. Ugh. Yep. And, like our parents, most of us were raised with our parents telling us to be really careful who your friends are. And it really takes it to a whole new level, doesn't it? But yeah, you need to be extremely cautious about who you trust and extremely cautious about anywhere you go, especially with like the mass shootings that happen in this day and age, grocery stores, Walmart, church, wherever. Um, so yeah, I feel so somber, sort of like how I felt when I was focusing my live on the triple homicide with Savannah Soto and her boyfriend and baby. This is so sad with this star athlete and her 2 babies. I think they're from the photos, they look like they're somewhere around like 4 to 7 years old, a boy and a girl, and how tragic that their father just destroys their lives in a fit of rage. Like, he's supposed to provide and protect those kids and his spouse. Unbelievable. Arrest somebody already, Truckee. Who are they afraid of? Such an awesome question, Mark Molina. Please arrest somebody. Absolutely. Would that be so amazing if this case could be first? I think they'd have to reopen the autopsy, the report, and change it from accidental drowning to maybe unknown cause of death at the very minimum. And then after that's done, then someone could potentially be charged in her death. But I think that that's where it would have to start, in my estimation, from what I know. Um, but yeah, Ninja Chihuahua put out a really good video in the last few hours, and just really focusing on the insanity of the weight of Kylie's lungs and how inconsistent that is with the reality of the weight of someone's lungs when they've drowned. And she used clips of Dr. Latina speaking to that fact of, I think it was that the lungs would weigh combined anywhere from 900 grams to about 1700 grams. And if you remember, I think Kylie's lungs combined weighed maybe like no more than 230 grams combined. I think it was a lot less than that. I think one lung was claimed to have weighed 100 grams, and then the other lung, I don't remember, 100 and some change, which isn't even possible for a person her size. So it's just so bogus. It's almost like they wanted to foul up the whole autopsy so that it could get undone, maybe. Who knows? I mean, you just can't make sense of this stuff. It's so crazy. Happy New Year, Harsh One. I'm good. Thank you. How is everyone? Positivity is the way I'm looking for 2024. Absolutely. The world has gotten worse, in my opinion, more rage, the value of life, the desensitizing. Mark, I agree with that to some extent. Absolutely. I think the desensitizing, kind of the violence in movies and video games, and then kids that are raised in that culture just don't understand the gravity of their actions, like these kids over there in Austin. Is it Austin? No, San Antonio, Texas. It seems like the suspects for the triple homicide are probably young, like not quite adults. We'll see. We'll see what comes out. Um, Whatever it is so sad. And then, of course, Savannah Soto's younger brother that was 15 when he was shot and killed a year and a half ago, coming up on 2 years ago. Um, it seems that he was shot for somebody suspecting that he might have stolen their rugs with a D or something like that. Um, so I'm not sure what the deal was, but it sounds like he was lured out of his house down the street and then shot. And then for Savannah's mother to lose her and her grandson to gun violence, it's just nuts, isn't it? Truth for Kylie and a voice for the voiceless. Can't stop, won't stop. Yes, 100%. Harsh one. Thank you, thank you. So small amount of lung tissue. And all of the measurements in her autopsy were bizarre. I remember the brain being 1,000 grams, like not 1,002, not 996, but 1,000 grams. And then to have one lung was, I know the one was 100 grams. Was the other one just like 110? Like everything was round numbers. It was very bizarre. It was like they were just ballparking it. Like they didn't actually weigh things. I don't know. I mean, that whole case is so fishy from the ground up. Um, Fred says the carjacking violence scares this geezer. The victims give their valuables, but are still getting pistol whipped. Yeah, I am so sorry to hear that, Fred. And I know you're outside of Chicago, where, yeah, it's a lot of violent crimes, especially around the big cities, like in Texas and in Ohio. Of course, we've got that in Columbus, in Cincinnati, in Cleveland, Toledo. I mean, the big cities are just rife with crazy violence, crazy, crazy violence. Nuts and beyond, all fake. Mark talking about the autopsy. Yeah. And, I'm so grateful for the Squirrel Squad going over all of the Kylie Rodney material with a fine tooth comb. And if you guys haven't caught Shan's live from last night, I'll link it in the description later here. Um, Looking at the car, looking at the car. So when they pulled her vehicle out of the water, out of the reservoir, they've clipped some of the videotape footage, and we all remember the tarp being on the back of the CRV, like covering the back windows where it was said that her remains were. And then it skips, and all of a sudden there's two tarps and the entire vehicle is covered. And there's a lot of damage on that car that doesn't is not consistent with the story. So, the windshield is smashed in. We all remember the rear view mirror, the side mirror being broken, the door being dented up, the hood having dents on it. Shan and that squirrel squad have just been going over that again and again. And yeah, it looks like her car was in an accident, or it looks like that car was in an accident, if that's her car. That whole thing. Oh, we just remembered that she's got a sunroof, but the car coming out of the water didn't have a sunroof. It had a dent on the top that looked like a sunroof. I remember Zav Girl doing an hours long, detailed scrutinization of the top of the car. And even at the end of it, I still couldn't decide, was it a sunroof or not? I didn't know. And it looks like a sunroof, but I don't think it is. But that phrase, we just remembered that she had a sunroof, and the weird cow with horns sticker on the back. And then was it the hubcaps or something else that they, as a collective brain think, just remembered? Crazy. Yes, Mark has a very good idea here. Fred, scary, get a big dog, pit, boxer, husky. Very good idea. Yeah, dogs are some of the best protection, absolutely. And they can be the best witnesses too, right? But hopefully there's nothing to witness. They can nip it in the bud. I have refused to go downtown for about 4 years now. I drive 2 to 7 hours for concerts rather than go downtown. I hear ya. Yeah, I was up in Chicago over the summer for my son's graduation from the Navy Academy, or whatever they would call it out there, the boot camp. Um, and yeah, it's been a while since I'd been to Chicago. It's like maybe 10 years, but it seems so much bigger. So much bigger. I mean, I would go there a lot in my young adult years and felt very comfortable there. I don't know why I felt so comfortable in Chicago. Um, I guess I always have, but this last time I didn't. I felt like it was just way too big of a city. Um, Way too big. Anyway, I guess it was the first time I went there with my family, with my 4 children and my husband. And, my husband's a good protector. So if we have him with us, we feel like, you know, we almost feel like we're invincible. I mean, not quite, of course, nobody's invincible. But yeah, it definitely, I guess, changes up the dynamic when you've got your children to protect. It's not just you, it's you and your kids, your cubs, so to speak. And, of course, my son who's in the military, he's quite the formidable protector now too. So the two of them can offer a lot of safety. But I've told you guys just a few days ago, I've always said I pity the fool that tries to mess with any of my kids, because they've been taught self-defense from a very young age. Um, just That's just how we did things. I think I told you guys the first words I taught my kids literally was rip off. Kids, can you say rip off? Because you need to know everything in the world is a rip off. Um, Harsh one says, Zena, we are almost the same age and we had a lot of different experiences growing up, and I get them wanting to party. I don't get the law enforcement and parents covering up like this. WTAF. Truth for Kylie. Yeah. Um, I like your comment there, harsh one. I didn't know that we were very close to the same age. I was born in 1967. Um, and yeah, I had a lot of different experiences growing up. I mean, my childhood was not the most stable, to put it mildly. Um, and yeah, I don't get that law enforcement and parents covering up. Yeah, I mean, the law enforcement covering up is to me the same as them, they're in on it. They're in on it. Like, I really wonder who the people are that might have harmed Kylie. Could it be actually law enforcement officials? Could it be the children of law enforcement officials? I wonder. I really wonder. Um, and yeah, the parents to cover up, like, that's not how you parent, period. Fred, we are so glad you don't go downtown. You might not be here. And Annie says Kylie's could have been bought from wrecking yard. Um, That's somebody made that comment last night on Chan's live, and it was the first time I'd thought that as a possibility. And yeah, anything's possible. All ideas are still in the air. Still in the air. That was another weird scammy brain leak. And I didn't coin that phrase brain leak. I'd like to kick credit to Mr. Armchair Detective because he coined that phrase and I love it. I just think it's hilarious. Having a brain leak. And yeah, scammy has a lot of them. Absolutely. Perps do a lot of brain leakage, and for that, we can thank them. I was a wild child when I was 13, 16, and then I calmed down some. Truth for Kylie. Yeah, I had some wildness in me, but mostly I was a pretty stable kid because my kids were so unstable. I needed to get my stability somewhere. So I got it from within and my grandparents. I looked elsewhere for structure and consistency and reliability and those good things in life. Those are things I value highly. The Oscar goes Lindsay, AWP, Ellie, Sammy, Scammy, SF, MC, Ronnie, Check It, Linda, and others. So yeah, that Linda Luschetti, you guys, being on the scene on, I think it was August 8th is what Shan said, maybe August 9th. But she is her presence to me is so suspicious. And I never really paid much attention to the Sherry Papini story because that whole thing was such a waste of everybody's time and money. And ugh, so twisted. So I don't know if you guys know, but Sherry Papini made herself disappear for a couple of months, disappeared herself so that she could hang out with her ex-boyfriend. Like, if you want to have an affair with your ex-boyfriend, that's a pretty freaking ridiculous way to do it. I mean, in my opinion, having an affair with your ex-boyfriend's ridiculous enough, but to do all of that, I mean, that girl, woman thing is a piece of work. And I know she got some prison time in her sentencing, and I think a $300,000 restitution that she's supposed to pay for all of the wasted resources on searching for her. Um, but man, I wonder how much prison time she'll actually have, if any, or if it'll just go to parole or something like that. I mean, I hope she does hard time. For her to do that to her kids and her husband and the whole community, the law enforcement, the rescue squads. It's insane. That is insane. Um, and then for Kylie Rodney's family to allow Linda Luschetti, who was the damage control public relations person that Sherry Papini hired, to have her there is so suspicious to me. It really makes me wonder, was this a fake kidnapping with dear Kylie. Or is it an actual kidnapping? I mean, every once in a while we ask that question, like, could she still be out there somewhere and the whole thing was just a dog and pony show? I think that it's not probable, but that it's possible. Um, Maybe it was a fake kidnapping. Maybe it was a fake kidnapping that then went wrong and then she was deceased. Oh, makes me think of the true crime story that the movie Fargo is about, right? That was a fake kidnapping, that the husband hired some ghouls to kidnap his wife, and then they accidentally, allowed her to pass, and then it just became a shite storm, and a lot of people passed, a lot of people. I mean, these people are just not very intelligent, right? Like, they don't understand the gravity of reality and people's emotions. I mean, your kids, if they think that you've been kidnapped, your spouse, your parents, they think you've been kidnapped, they're going to be freaking out. I mean, it's going to turn them inside out. Like, who can do that to anybody? I mean, we all know Cheeto Girl did it. Cheez It Girl. Yeah. Okay. Seems like Chicago changed in the last 4 years to me, mainly last 2 years. Huh, Mark Molina. So it was that the vibe I was picking up when I was there? Because yeah, it definitely seems so different to me. I thought it was just me, being different. Um, I get that people are effing nuts and you need to be able to protect yourself. Good comment, Shelley. Sorry, I've fallen a little bit behind. We not twins, Jess. What? Oh, her Shelley was born in 1968. Wow. So yeah, awesome. Um, so yeah, I don't think she's saying she's 68 years old. I think she's saying she was born in 68. My childhood was crazy and Seattle was scary AF to me and too cold. Yeah, so I lived in Seattle as an adult and I didn't find it scary at all. Well, mostly, but going back to visit since uh things have changed a lot the last 15 years. It's quite a scary city to me now. Um, and maybe that's an element there in Chicago. I don't know the logistics of legalized recreational marijuana, but in my opinion, that's what ruined Seattle, in my humble opinion. I wonder too, something is up big because in that area, in the Seattle area, it's like every third store in the strip mall is a place where you can buy cannabis. And, I think it should be used medicinally. I don't think it should be abused like that. I don't think it should be available for anybody to use um, anytime. That's my opinion. I know it's controversial, but I don't even align it to like alcohol and prohibition. I align it to like ice cream and brownies. It's like just because it's legal, it doesn't mean that you should consume it too often, right? I mean, you got to be wise and take care of yourself. 1947 for this geezer who got sent home 2 hours early, do no work. My parents were nice, Annie Ruler says, but we thought everyone was nice. I married two narcissistic sociopaths. See, you were too sheltered, right? Very friendly, so interested in you and what they can get from you. I had more assets both times. Yuck. Yike, yike, yike. Girl was at CRV Stuff and Junkyard and then she stopped YouTube. Squirrel Girl. Okay, harsh one. Yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about. Squirrel Girl was looking at the CRV stuff in the junkyard and then she stopped YouTube. Wow, that's a very astute observation. And there is, in my opinion, something to that for sure. Thanks, harsh one. You're on top. of it. Annie, I am sorry you had to go through some tough things. Love is blind. Yeah, Linda comes up in some dark stories. Sus. Ugh. Yeah. It's really creepy. These people like Eaton, Iris Eaton, the attorney for Barry Morphew, she pops up in some really dark stories. She's a, she's like a oh, she's like a villainous attorney, represents all the villains and helps them get away with red rum. Let's see. Kidnapping by kids that went bad. The timing right before Kylie left area. Sus. Yep. Yep. And maybe I'm going to put this out there, Mark, because I know it probably won't offend you. I know it could offend some people. Maybe Jägermeister was in on that because of the breakup, because he was hung up on her and he didn't know how to keep her in his life. And maybe that was part of it. Just an idea. Because I don't trust him at all. I mean, I have never trusted him, and I don't necessarily think that he did anything directly to harm her, but I haven't ruled it out entirely either. He certainly hasn't come clean with what he knows, and he posts all those bizarre pictures of her, you know, like that last one, the little tiny Polaroid in the steering wheel of his long live Kylie painted steering wheel. And yeah, very sus. Very, very sus. My prosecutor, I helped on those M trials, is the elected DA where Papini was. At least she pursued. Yeah, yeah, I know, because it took a long time. It took a long time for justice to find her. Again, you know, people probably had a really difficult time wrapping their mind around the extent of her insanity, the depths of her insane deception. Like, who in the world would do something like that? The girl's out of her mind. Annie, I understand that I married one and I was gone like ASAP and away from him. I'm blessed. 32 years with my hubs and still together. He also has been watching Kylie's case. He's like, what the actual F? Truth for Kylie. Yes, it's nice to be in a stable relationship for sure. Absolutely. There's many benefits to it. It's not easy. Nothing's easy, right? Lindsay did not search. That needs to be explored. What did she know? I agree, Mark. I 100% think you nailed that right there. So we are getting close to an hour. So let's think about wrapping it up for today. Um, that's such a good comment, Mark. You always have great comments. Yes. Yeah. And Nick and Squirrel Girl. Nick Wren, is that the Nick that you're talking about? Nick and Squirrel Girl? Or are you talking about Nick G when he allegedly interviewed with Squirrel Girl? Mark says no one is not above suspicion. Yeah, when something happens, it's just like the game of Clue when we were little. Everyone's a suspect when something happens. Everybody, but especially the last people to have contact. Those are going to be your persons of interest slash suspects. Those people are going to have crucial information to help suss out what happened. Hopping into the Idaho 4 case for a moment here at the end, that the guy who gave the girls a ride from the grub truck to their home, why he was left out of the loop or left out of the person of interest pool for so long is crazy. I don't know if he's ever been considered a person of interest, and he should be. I mean, maybe not a suspect, but a person of interest who would have potentially crucial key information. Um, Speaking of which, crucial key evidence and destruction of crucial key evidence, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for the people who authorized the demolition of 1122 King or Queen Road. I do not think they are free and clear from ever being prosecuted for destruction of evidence, interfering with an investigation, obstruction of justice, no matter who they are. I would love to see that. I don't think there's going to be any statute of limitations on that. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Nick G. Squirrel Girl interview. Thanks, Mark, for clarifying. Weird he was not around, or was he? So many cases, the ex is involved. Yeah. You mean weird that that Jägermeister was not around? Because I could have sworn one of his original stories was that he went to that party. That his first story was that he didn't go to the party, he was fishing with his dad, and then he went to the party, and then no, he was having his own party. Yeah. Harsh one. I was pregnant with twins, kicked out for breaking G curfew at 18. Pregnant with twins, kicked out for breaking curfew at 18. You were pregnant with twins at 18, Annie Ruler? Oh man, that is wild. Talk about life changing. I mean, having a kid at 18 is life changing. Having a kid at any age is life changing. But twins at any age is life changing too, I'm sure. Not that I've done that. I can only imagine. Yes, Jaeger. I heard he was, then it changed. Not sure who said. Sus. Yeah. Nor will the frats get away. No statute of limitations on red rum, and at least two have scars, in my opinion. I like the comment. I'm going to highlight that one, and then I'll get to yours, Annie, before we wrap up. So thanks so much for joining me, you guys. I love you so very much. Sending you all light and love, and, praying for justice, praying for a better day for these cases that we cover, for sure. Oh, wow, Annie, hugs. I can barely manage me and the dog. Mark, that's cute. That's a perfect comment to wrap up today's live on. So again, please make sure you're still subscribed if you care to do so. Share the video if you like, and turn on your notification bell to ring. And oh, look, now I've got the two like buttons. That's cool. I like that. I hadn't even thought about that until just now. I got to do that more. Way cool. And then I can do this with my hand. But it probably makes the screen like all, makes it weird. I try not to move my hands in the screen because it seems to cause problems, right? Makes it buffer. They're 44 now, had third, 22 years later, 7 years to escape. What? So your kids are 44 now. You had a third child 22 years later, and it took you 7 years to escape that marriage. I'm a little confused if you want to clarify, but yeah, I know you are a wise woman. You've been through a lot, and you've persevered and prevailed. So may all of us persevere and prevail in 2024, you guys. Yeah, true crime. It's where it's at. I'm loving my channel. I'm loving my Justice League. I love justice. I love you guys. So peace out. Have a fabulous rest of your day. And hopefully we'll be able to get on live tomorrow. I need to figure out a way when I set up the live so I let you guys know that I'm going to come on, and maybe just title it something like, "We'll see what time I actually make it." Like, if I can just put that in the title so people are prepared. I'm sure that my regulars are always prepared. I'm sure you guys are surprised when I am on time. And it's happened. I think I've even been a minute or two early once or twice, believe it or not. Um, had third 22 months later. Oh, see, the months was covered by the heart. Holy caboli, Annie Ruler. So almost Irish triplets, almost. That's like when they're within 12 months or 18 months. Um, 44 now, had third 22 months later, 7 years to escape. So now the whole sentence makes more sense. Yeah, the months was hidden by the heart icon emoji. And so I just assumed it said 22 years later. Wow. Okay. You can't assume, can you? And Annie Ruler says, months. See what happens when you assume? Yes, it does. It happens every time, almost every time. Hey, Michael, sorry, we're just wrapping up, but at least you got here in time to say hi. Hi, everyone. Tried to watch your video a little bit earlier today, and it says it was private, but now I'm on it, and LOL. Yeah, when I set up the video the first time, it started videotaping me setting it up, drinking my coffee. And so it had like 11 seconds of me fiddling on the thing. So I just deleted that or privatized it and made a new one. That was annoying. All right, you guys, I'm going to end the stream now. And thanks again for being here, and see you on the next one. Have a fabulous day.